Well, welcome to this edition of the Connected Cities Innovation. Today we have Michael Sherwood, the Chief Innovation and Technology Officer of Las Vegas. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much, Peter.
We've had the pleasure of visiting your city twice on our tour over the last 7 years. We actually had a great, your fellow Don Jacobson gave us a great tour of your innovation center and your innovation zone. So that was really fulfilling. So we're back here to ask you some questions and learn more about where you guys are at. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly share a quick piece on the Omnia program. Graybar and Omnia are our sponsors. Omnia is a free program for any nonprofit that they can use to purchase equipment such as electrical, datacom, lighting, power. I've been involved in a lot of projects where we bought our wire, cable, and wiring there. And if you have any questions on that, go to omniapartners.com/graybar. So thank you for allowing me my short commercial, Michael. And again, always impressed by the level of innovation. And you've really been a pioneer from the standpoint of the connected city. When coronavirus and the crisis hit, across the country, we panicked because we realized how unconnected so many people were. And Las Vegas quickly raised some funds, and you deployed a network to help students get access to the internet. And then that has grown, and you've built partnerships and greatly expanded that. So if you would, could you describe that a bit? Very interested in where you've gone with that.
Sure, Peter. Thank you so much for having me here today. And obviously, Las Vegas is a dynamic community with many interesting, not just building, but innovation and technology projects throughout Las Vegas. Today, we're really just going to focus in on here. Let me share my screen out and give you an idea, Peter, of kind of what we've got going and kind of where we've been with our journey here. So on the map that you see here, this is the last iteration. You can see the downtown Las Vegas core in the center there, and you can see this wide expanse of nodes throughout. Originally, we built this network for IoT work specifically. This was in 2018 and 2019. And one of the troubles we had, or challenges we had, is that the ability to have all these different IoT devices and the cost per device was extremely high. And so we were trying to find ways around that. Obviously, private LTE and CBRS were both areas that we experimented with. Along came the pandemic, and we were able to utilize this network to connect school children to their school. So basically as a pass-through service. So what we did is from the child's home, we connected them through our network and passed them over to the school's network. So it was just like they were in the classroom at home. And we did that for K through 12. After the pandemic, we've been working now on including access to the university from your home in these locations. So you have that capability. We're also partnering with EdgeRoam. So EdgeRoam is and the Wireless Broadband Alliance. So those are two additional offerings where you'll be able to use the cellular network or our Wi-Fi network seamlessly between the two and have connectivity. So as it stands today, we really have 4 vertical use cases for the network. Number one is education, so that connectivity for children and for working adults who are looking for more educational opportunities, really allowing them to, from their home, connect to their school of choice within the region or within North America to any EdgeRoam-based institution. So we have that capability for education. We do use this for IoT purposes as well. That includes security cameras. It's really cut down our installation time. So before you'd have to put up a camera, you would need to bring fiber or coax or UTP or any type of median to the camera plus electricity. Now what we're able to do is basically just plug in a camera, use a modem off the camera to connect into our private cellular network. Basically cuts down the time from 3 to 4 weeks to hours to get a camera up and running. We do a lot of festivals, outdoor concerts where we close blocks of downtown Vegas. I'm sure many are familiar with the Fremont Street experience. So being able to move cameras around easily and quickly is important. So it's been really useful in that regard. We've also used this wireless network. We have a lot of companies here, from Motional, Zoox, Waymo, traditional automakers that are all interested in doing vehicle to infrastructure and infrastructure to vehicle communications. So we've used this wireless network to provide some detailed data to those vehicles that have the capability of receiving information. And that's everything from light timing, when the light is going to change from red to green, as well as our cone placements, construction feeds, real-time, near real-time construction capabilities. So we have that vertical as well. We're also looking at how we use this network to help those that might be in crisis. Homelessness is a US-wide epidemic. So we're using this network of how we help. We all know that we live in a connected world, and not having connectivity means you can't bank, means you can't find that new job. And so building this out, again, additional opportunities there. And we're really excited. This is 1.0 on the screen. 2.0 will be twice the size. We'll have now some MOCN agreements or sharing agreements with major providers. So if you're on a major provider, you will be able to use our network if we have better connectivity in those areas. And if you're a Las Vegas customer of the network, you will have the ability, once you leave our coverage area, to have roaming capabilities outside. And so we're working on some of those agreements as well. So, you know, a lot of benefits to doing this. And then recently we've been folding in more public Wi-Fi as an overlay to our private LTE network and CBRS networks as well as expanding to indoors and doing in-building systems that, again, help the community have farther reach of connectivity, not just outdoors, but also indoors within some of our larger governmental buildings. So that was a real quick overview, but definitely excited about the future. We see lots of opportunity here. There's lots of partners that work in this space. And it's not hard. You just start small is our best advice, is, you know, start small, find some good partners to work with, and then build out as you see the need.
So go ahead and unshare, Michael, and we could chat a little bit more about what you got going on. Yeah. Okay. So with that network, you talked about partners, and talk to me about the departments within the city and how they've learned to use this network to innovate, because I know that's always a challenge, right?
It is. I mean, look, there's a lot of departments that work on this network and utilize it now. A lot of it's education by the IT department, working with our fellow departments. Public Works is a major player. They do a lot of our installations for us. They do a lot of the maintenance work as well. But they also get the benefits of this. Obviously, we use these systems in parks to control sprinkler controls. We use it for lighting control. We use it for security to open gates and doors. So as much as a lot of people, work on it, there's also a lot of benefit they derive from it. So Public Works is a major customer. Our marshals, which patrol city facilities and the Fremont Street experience, have basically police powers around downtown and the core and our facilities. You know, they've utilized the network as well. A lot of times it used to be, hey, we want to put a camera here. We would tell them, well, geez, guys, it might be 8 to 12 weeks before we can get crews to go do all the electrical work and then bring the camera, set it all up. And so they've been really supportive because they're able to utilize the network to drive their business opportunities. Now they can put cameras up for festivals, and then we can take them down and move them. So we have a lot of opportunity to be of flexibility. Wireless, really gives you, there's advantages. The flexibility is more than I would think the top of mind as far as benefits. Fiber, you run fiber, it's expensive to run. You can't run it everywhere. Younger cities, we're over 100 years old. Younger cities have some of that capability. They have fiber everywhere, but we have areas where we're just constrained financially. And so for us, the wireless gives us unlimited flexibility and cost control. And so you have the public safety end of it. Building and planning use this as well. We're able to put one-time sensors out to monitor an intersection and get traffic feeds. Walk, how many people are walking on the street, all types of different matrices that we're able to collect. And then if we want to move the sensor down the street, easy, just move it down the street. So a lot of efficiencies and cost containment capabilities by leveraging wireless. We've been exploring other areas, millimeter wave and other technologies to help extend the network without having to go underground and use, again, fiber takes longer to make those deployments. But outside of Public Works, our marshals, our Parks and Rec use our network as well. Again, mostly camera-based there. But again, it allows you to, is there graffiti in the park? Instead of driving out to a park, you can use cameras, visually observe the park, and make better management decisions without having to go physically out to all of these locations. Also allows staff to survey 4 or 5 locations easily within a couple minutes and make choices about, hey, we need to do some upgrades here. We have some extra trash here from a party. It just gives us intelligence and business analytical data that helps us maintain our assets and provide better community service. So there are many capabilities, almost unlimited. It's really what you can think of. And we look at it this way. It's more about listening to your departments and then helping them understand how wireless helps them versus the reverse of that. It's not IT selling solutions. It's, hey, we know you've had these challenges. Let's talk about this wireless solution we have. Maybe it'll work for you and give you what you need.
Have you, you mentioned the CBRS and private LTE and then Wi-Fi. Have you found the cameras and sensors that are operating using the CBRS or private LTE, or do you convert everything to Wi-Fi to then access the devices and sensors and things like that?
So actually, Peter, we're using the spectrum. So we have some cameras that are cellular by nature, work on a cellular network, natively built for that. Now, there's very few of those type of cameras. And then we have some issues based on origin of manufacture. We're very centric on what kind of systems we use, especially around some of our downtown areas where we have elements of the federal government. We need to be good partners there. So ensuring those sourced items are from countries on the friendly list, we'll call it. That's been a challenge. I would say the bulk of our cameras that we have deployed out there are a typical camera, Ethernet based, that goes into a hardened modem. There are many providers that make these modems, Sierra Wireless, Cradle Points by different vendors that make that, but I call it a gateway. It's a conversion, a bridge. So it takes basically an Ethernet signal and turns it into a cell signal and sends that over our private cellular network. We tend to do more video over private cellular for the security aspects of it. Cellular is a much tighter footprint for security versus Wi-Fi. Well, Wi-Fi is great. We use Wi-Fi mainly for the public, for the guest experience, and for short-term needs. So let's say we're having a downtown outdoor concert. We'll go ahead and set the fire and public safety teams up with Wi-Fi because it's a short 1 to 3 day event. If we don't have the cellular coverage, if we have the cellular coverage, we'll always use cellular over Wi-Fi.
And that's your private cellular, right? You're not talking about.
And that's our private cellular. Correct.
And
our mode of preference would always be private cellular first, Then secondary would be the open carrier market, your Verizon's, AT&T, T-Mobile's, those carriers. Wi-Fi last, and that's really for security reasons that we would choose that. Again, we do use Wi-Fi. The one instance we do need to use Wi-Fi is when we have cameras that are doing 4K video. You just sometimes the cellular band, based on the distance and the capability, just isn't there for the high-end video. But most of that high-end video is used for marketing purposes. And so there's not really a security aspect to it. So using Wi-Fi is an acceptable median for that.
That makes so much sense. And, I've been a little bit surprised at the adoption rate of these private cellular networks. It's been a little slower than I would anticipate. And I don't know if that's because of cost justifications and legacy networks, but there's even some cost offsets in these things. While you deploy this, you're not having to deploy as much fiber, and you touched on that. As a backhaul mechanism, it also is serving city needs, that cellular network. Is that accurate?
It is. It is. I would look at it this way. You bring up some great points. I mean, I remember when AeroNet, so I'm going to date myself, but back in the day, there was AeroNet. When Wi-Fi first came out, before they even called it Wi-Fi, it was a slow adoption. I remember not wanting to use it at all as an engineer. At that time, I thought, cable was so much better. Who needs wireless? It's never going to work properly. I'm like you. I'm surprised that the adoption's not faster. But I think what you've seen over the last year is new use cases, more opportunity with new technology, such as when you start combining private cellular with millimeter wave and Wi-Fi, the complexity is coming down. So it's easier to install. There's some great new products by several companies out there. And you have, with partner companies like Graybar and others, a plethora of options now. And I think what's for really IT professionals is that this is new for all of us. So it's the partner network is catching up, where before you only had one or two companies, smaller, not really, working at large scale. And then you had obviously the private carriers. They weren't really interested in helping government agencies set up alternative networks to theirs.
Yeah.
That's changing. That is changing. And you're now seeing everybody be more collaborative. I think people, especially in the warehouse industry, I'm seeing huge in venue spaces, huge growth in private wireless. And I think governmentals, you're seeing it. You're seeing more and more governments now, airports especially, start really latching on to private LTE. They're seeing the benefits, and it's a learning curve. I think you will see over the next 2 years, the adoption rate's going to kick up.
And I think that I agree with you there. And I've been seeing quite a bit, as you say, these institutional, or well-funded institutions, I should say, your hotels in Las Vegas, those guys with their casinos, they have so many security needs and so much bandwidth, and they're early adopters, right? And like you did in your city, once you've started with one or two core applications, you just found this convenience, and now it sounds like your default mechanism for cameras, which we know that you just keep getting demand for more cameras. So I think it just needs a little bit more word of mouth, and the first guys through have proved that it works. A few bullets out there. I've heard some horror stories, but the bulk of everyone that I come back to that's had it a year or two, they've innovated and they've just expanded. Like your network, I forget how many nodes you had before, but that was a full, robust network you just showed. And you said you're going to take it out further, geographically, more coverage.
It will double in size, Peter, over the next year. We'll be making some major announcements at Mobile World Congress, Las Vegas, about some new partnerships we're driving. So we're excited about that opportunity. We're also excited about the data angle. A lot of people haven't shared or talked about it. We've really talked, just you and I even today, about the utility, the cameras and sensors and helping kids with education. What we haven't talked about now with the network is being able to understand. So if you have a city cell phone and you're attached to our network, we're able now to get usage data of the network. We're able to see how many people are using it, when they're using it, and how they move about downtown. Now, of course, this data is skewed because it's all city employee data. But you can see a future where that data will help us make better decisions. Just based on, we'll be able to use AI and other tools, analytic tools, to look at historic trends. One of the newest things we're working on is, wouldn't it be wonderful, large retailers like Walmart, they do inventory remotely. They basically just run, they have everything with either copper, little, different little transceivers on some of their items, and are able to just, use a wireless network to do their inventory and know how much product is still left and how much needs to put on the shelf. Imagine if we could go ahead and inventory all of our trash cans, our trees, our benches, and be able to do that remotely. And if a stop sign is missing, know that immediately. And because whether it's knocked down or someone borrowed it, be able to know that rapidly, which could save someone's life in that situation of knowing that a stop sign's missing, being able to go back and replace it. So there's a lot of future opportunity here that we're still barely understanding, how to utilize it and how to harness the information.
So you can track your assets with a sensor on the network. Is that always like a stop sign or a traffic light or whatever? That's fascinating.
We've even looked at. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, you could actually track where the stop sign goes, that I would imagine as well.
Yeah, I mean, here, I can actually have one right here. I'm not sure how well it will show up, but we've been using or looking at using one of these. This is brand new in plastic, but this right here is a GPS sensor that backhauls onto our cellular network. And we're looking at attaching these to copper wire runs that are prone to being stolen. So once this moves about 6 inches, it will set off an alarm, and our wireless network would be the backhaul for that and alert us to possible copper wire theft. And so there's all types of business solutions that you can derive from having your own wireless network, where you can control it, your costs. I mean, my monthly cost per device, obviously, the more devices I put in, the lower it becomes. And so, where the future is, I don't know where the future goes. Do we run our own, or do we look at doing a public-private partnership and let somebody else manage the network for us and profit from it, and just allow us to access it at a very low cost? So there's a lot of future things that I think, we haven't got there yet. The technology is still catching up in some ways. But there's lots of opportunity here, and for governmental agencies, that have a lot of needs, this is certainly one way to approach it and look at it. Especially when you have a confined area like a downtown or an airport or a large venue, private wireless is a huge opportunity.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Michael. I guess my last question is, what excites you these days from an innovation standpoint? What do you see coming besides the network that might, AI is thrown out there? I know you've done some digital, you've created a digital mapping of your city. What's things that you see that are coming that are exciting for your future, the city's future?
There's a couple. I mean, edge computing's huge. We really look at edge computing as being a major game changer. So you have the old way of doing networking, which is a core co-location center, where you just moved everything from your basement over to this co-location facility. We're looking more at spreading that out among the city as a whole. You get faster processing times, better distribution. It's really going to be, for us, what excites me more is the combination now of the data we collect from our network, the ability of AI and large language models to process that information and give us end results. Look, I mean, from a networking side, you're going to have, those are going to continue to grow and expand, whether it's wireless or landline type or in-ground systems. Those are going to continue to expand. What excites me is the application of using all this data and being able to fully realize some of the things we all were excited about in 2016, fully autonomous vehicles that were basically part of an ecosystem, getting data, knowing where construction cones were, all of that in a near real-time scenario. I think that now the possibility of those things happening are that much closer.
Well, and I guess you just described how we go from connected to smart, right? You can't be smart until you're connected, but once you're connected, it's these edge devices, et cetera, that'll make it more efficient. All right, well, thank you so much for spending some time and sharing, particularly the innovations around the network that you're doing in connected Las Vegas. So hopefully we're going to be able to make a trip out next year. I'll probably be out at Mobile World Congress, so I'll make sure I attend your announcement. But maybe we can do a Connected Cities tour stop next spring in Las Vegas. We enjoyed last time when we were at City Hall. Quite impressive.
Well, we always love people coming out to Las Vegas. We got something for everyone, from sports, entertainment, food, you name it. Now technology and innovation. So, there's something for everyone here. So thank you, Peter, so much for allowing me to be here today. And I just hope everybody gets a great chance to come out to Las Vegas soon and see what we're doing.
Well, there's only one big thing out there in the whole world that I need to experience, and I have to do some show at the Sphere.
I'm with you. You got your background, got that spherish look. So, but yeah, the Sphere is ready.
All right, cool.
It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait. But all right, well, thank you so much, Michael. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.